These are the important Supreme Court cases that have come through American history up to Reconstruction. There are 5 cases that we are going to look at. 2 are very similar, and so it shouldn't be too difficult to remember the primary things we need to remember. The first court case that we have is Marbury versus Madison. This is the first major Supreme Court case ever in United States history. A little background information. Thomas Jefferson ordered James Madison not to, excuse the typo on there, deliver any of John Adams' midnight appointments to the recipients. John Adams was our second president. At midnight on his last night, he decided he would appoint a whole lot of people to judicial jobs, meaning court judges and stuff like that. And Jefferson found out about it and refused to deliver them. William Marbury was one of the people that was supposed to receive the job, and he sued the government. Specifically Madison, who was who was helping Jefferson to run everything. The main issue that came across here: does the Supreme Court have the authority to review acts of Congress and determine constitutionality? This is the big idea: is that the Supreme Court, that's what they do, is look at constitutionality of cases. Does it fit in with the Constitution? Yes or no? And they make a final decision. The decision that was made was that the law that allowed Marbury to sue is unconstitutional. And so he loses the case, and that was pretty much it for the court case. But the significance, always the thing to remember for Marbury versus Madison is that it established judicial review. And establishing judicial review was super important at this time. The next court case is McCulloch versus Maryland. This is a little bit later on. Maryland wanted to tax the national bank that's inside the state borders. They decided that since the national bank is taking up their land, they should have the right to tax them. Well, the United States government runs the national bank, and so they refused that. What ended up happening, the decision was that a state cannot claim to have power over the federal government. And so the significance, the federal government is supreme over the state government. So always remember, federal over state. That was the whole key to this case. The next one was Gibbons versus Ogden. The main issue is who has shipping rights on the Hudson River, New York or New Jersey? Who should be able to tax the other for using their territory? All these things kind of played in together. This whole idea is called interstate commerce. So the decision was that the federal government is the only one able to regulate interstate commerce. They're the only ones able to tell that they're the ones that are able to control who goes where, when, and how much money they can make. The significance of this is, again, the federal government is supreme over the state government. So again, federal over state. Always remember, federal over state. And the next court case we have was during Jackson's time. This is Worcester versus Georgia. The background of this area is that since the colonization era, the white population had been making treaties with the Native Americans, just directly. I'm building a town here, we need to work together. Over time, they did not follow. Neither group was really good about following the treaties wholeheartedly, and they began an outlaw. State government started outlawing groups from even going to visit the tribes, like missionaries. The whole idea was who had the right. The issue here was who had the right to remove the Native Americans, even though it violated the treaty. Did Georgia have that right to do that? When the Supreme Court came down on them, they said that the national government was the only one able to make treaties, and that it shouldn't be able to enforce this Indian Removal Act that they've been trying to pass. Well, when it came down to it, Andrew Jackson enforced the Indian Removal Act, and this is what led to the Trail of Tears. The final court case that we have is Dred Scott versus Sanford. Dred Scott was a slave who owner would travel between the North and the South, places where slavery was abolished and places where slavery was okay still. Because Dred Scott lived in an area that abolished slavery, should he have been freed as well? This was the issue. When the court case came down, the decision was made that Dred Scott did not have this right. He was not a citizen. In fact, he was seen as being merely property, and this kind of established a lot of precedent for all slaves, is that they were property and not people. And therefore, since he's not a citizen, he had no standing before the courts. And this is going to continue to further the separation between the North and the South, leading into the Civil War. These are just some of the important cases that we have to remember for our STAR test.